So COVID has drastically changed the way that we nurse in the ICU. We changed our protocols every day. We changed our policies every day. Watching patients die without their family has probably been one of the hardest experiences in my career. I remember last March taking care of one of the first COVID deaths. I remember walking into the COVID room. It was the first COVID patient I had taken care of. And you have all your gear on, you know, you have this gown and you have this mask and you have goggles and all the doors are closed, which is not something that we often do in the ICU. And I remember walking in for my morning assessment with the respiratory therapist, and he finished before I was done with my assessment, and he asked me if I needed anything, and then he left. And I remember the door closing and just feeling so alone. I'm in a room with a patient who has a virus that we at this time know nothing about. We have no idea what we're treating. And all I can hear is the sound of the ventilator. And I'm hoping that I put my mask on right, that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I took care of this patient for 3 days before we finally withdrew support. And I held my own phone in front of this patient so that his partner of 20 years could see him as he died. And it was awful. And that's what we dealt with for months, using our own electronic devices to ensure that our patients could see their families. And these were patients, some of these patients didn't even have COVID, but we couldn't get their families into the hospital. Nursing without families is like trying to make cookies without flour. It doesn't work. It's hard. They provide some level of healing that I don't think we were aware of prior to this.
I still remember, I believe it was March 16th when we ended up having our first COVID patient, and just the overall fear that everyone had. The workload was unimaginable. We didn't understand all of the care that was going to go into taking care of these patients, the complete isolation. So we had to be that kind of family for them. And I don't know, it was a really difficult time because there were a lot of people that didn't have family and friends there, and you know, we were the last ones that they ended up seeing, and we got very, very close with them and things like that. So it was really hard, and I'm totally fine with being emotional talking about this because everybody was. We were there for the entire year. People have worked 10, 11, 12, 13 days in a row. And it was really, really difficult, and we could not have done it if we didn't have the team that we did, and we could not have achieved that if we didn't have the management that we did. And I feel that we couldn't have really done it the best we could have in another health system, because I just remember people coming to us and they're like, what do you guys need? We need N95s. We will get them for you. And I just remember always watching on the TV of people we don't have enough N95s. We're wearing the same ones for a week. We had all of the equipment that we possibly needed. We were so well supported by just the entire health system and everyone involved, and that really brought us a lot together, and that we really supported each other, and we're like, hey, you gotta go take a break. Like, I'm gonna watch your people. You gotta go get a walk outside. Like, we got this. I'm very glad that I went through this experience at St. Luke's. We did not furlough any of our people. We supported them. When it came down to the pandemic, they were like, no, this is about people. and we're going to support our people, and we're going to help them get through this, and we're just going to try to get back on track.
I think we can give a round of applause for the folks that spoke on that. I think one of the things when I was speaking with the ladies that are on the stage tonight about talking up here, it takes a lot to get up and share those types of stories. And so for those individuals to do that and tell the stories from within really what the last year looked like, that takes a lot of courage. And I'm glad that we were able to hear what they saw and what they experienced over the last year. And I know each of you have those stories that you also have and have probably shared those with your family. As we kind of continue to look at the connections and the importance of nursing and understanding the role and the experiences, and again with our great partnership with St. Luke's, there's nobody better to help tell us a little bit more that can kind of explain and kind of discuss what he's seen within our community, within the healthcare community and organization. And so I'm honored and thankful tonight to welcome the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Nursing Officer, of St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center and St. Luke's Jerome Hospital, Dr. Arlen Blaylock. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Matt, for the opportunity to speak to this distinguished group. And it's going to be a little weird because I'm kind of looking that way and I'm talking about you. So please forgive me if I'm not looking directly at you. But I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you and the organizations that you work for. You're some of the bright spots from this past year. And you will hear us say it over and over. But I want you to hear me say thank you for all that you've given to our patients and to our communities. And you're caring, strong, you're educated, you're exceptional professionals who lead with excellency, and you lead by example. So I'm honored to stand here before you and talk. So my apology if I'm not looking directly at you. Let me start with a prediction. The prediction is pretty obvious. Healthcare will never be the same again. Much like how the air travel was changed by terrorist events in September 11th, 2001, COVID-19 will prove to be the watershed moment in history where all of healthcare, I believe, was changed forever. Those of us who were talking about telehealth got it in gear for real once COVID showed up. It showed us that employees can work from almost anywhere, not just from inside expensive brick and mortar facilities. It taught former competitors how to lay down their personal agendas and work together. We actually found out that the real enemy in healthcare is that virus that's affecting our friends and our family and our neighbors. It's not the organizations with a differing logo down the street. It highlighted the risk of allowing politics into patient care and putting all of our supply chain eggs in one basket. It showed us the gaps in our theories. It showed us the lapse in our infection prevention practices. And it'll end up killing nearly 500 million people before we finally get this in control. So whether we like it or not, one small lingering crown-shaped virus has forever changed us and will continue to reshape the world and how we care for the sick. As Matt mentioned and others, COVID rudely introduced itself to Idaho in March of 2020. Within a few weeks, St. Luke's had to close admissions at one of its critical access hospitals in Wood River because between 100 and 140 staff were either infected or exposed to the virus. Because of our organizational structure and our proximity to Wood River, St. Luke's Magic Valley shouldered most of the clinical burden from this first wave. Our ICU usually sees 6 patients in the ICU in any given day. We were up to 14 on a ventilator, not including all the other ICU patients. And so that was quite a big jump. And our team rallied, our whole hospital rallied, and our community rallied. And COVID was a gift that just kept on giving. Idaho has endured 2 additional waves of infected people since that time. Each one was larger than the previous one, nearly overwhelming all of our healthcare facilities. And just so you know, to date, Idaho has recorded 8,200 hospitalizations and over 2,000 deaths related to COVID. Johns Hopkins has reported that this pandemic has caused 3.3 million deaths across the world. 580,000 right here in this United States. And I'm sorry to say that one of them that I remember the most was my dear beloved 86-year-old father named Robert, who died of COVID. And while things are better in the United States, by the way, I only had 2 in our hospital today. At one time, I had 75. While things are better here in the United States, this fight is not over. Variants could very well cause another wave of illness across our country. India, by the way, in case you're reading any of the news, is being decimated right now. Its neighboring Nepal has reported last weekend infection rates of 47%. That's 1 out of 2 that they've tested. And over the past few weeks in our world, COVID has killed on an average of 120 people per hour. That's 2 a minute. And so by the time I get done, 20 to 25 people will have died. Let me add a second prediction. No matter what virus, plague, political regime, war, national disaster, or unprecedented calamity, no matter what threatens the health of any people anywhere in the world, nurses will be at the forefront of caring for and healing the sick. It's a calling. For those of you who don't know, it's a calling. It's in our blood. It's a profession. We don't know the word retreat when our patient truly needs us. Quitting because it's hard, quitting because it's difficult or complicated or frightening is not in our nature. We are here to stand in a gap for those less fortunate and humbly serve the sick and injured, no matter their race, their color, their sexual orientation, their political affiliation, or their nation of origin. And how do I know this? Well, it's in our history, from Florence Nightingale to the Navy Nurse Corps to the American Red Cross to the many, many Catholic charities that started most of our U.S. hospitals. And I saw it again in many of you through your actions and passion during this current pandemic. When others stepped back out of fear of an unknown contagious disease, you stepped forward, not because you weren't afraid, but because, as I stated before, you didn't know how to retreat when a patient needed you. I've seen and heard stories of how you braved the cold to swab a stranger's nares. You reused PPE. You applied and reapplied lotions and creams to your irritated face from your mask. You created various gadgets to keep the pressure ulcers off of your ears. You gave discharge instructions in parking lots. You ate alone. You stayed in hotels away from family, friends, just so that you could have the privilege to care for someone who may or may not have heeded your advice on masking, hand washing, and physical distancing. You talked to them. You read to them. I saw people singing to them. I saw videos of people even dancing before their patients to try to raise their spirits. You mastered this thing called a virtual birthday. You FaceTime families with and for your patients because of our strict visitation policies. You shared final wishes to absentee loved ones. And I know you snuck an extra 1 or 2 visitors in to help the terminal not die alone. I know you thought I didn't see this, but we did, and it's okay. I've seen you take ICU patients outside for one final glimpse of the sun and breath of fresh air, only to realize that this activity often renewed life and hope in these individuals, and it jump-started their recovery. You've helped feeble bodies to windows just so they could see the glimpse of family and friends waving banners and balloons down on the grounds below. And one of my favorite stories was about a senior citizen who had a stroke, not COVID, but he had a stroke during all this time when we had everything locked down. And we were honestly learning how to handle these new challenges, and to be honest, our visitation policy didn't quite handle this very good. We didn't do a very good job of communicating with our families. And this man's wife didn't know what was going on, so she started writing him a letter every day. And every letter, she inserted a heart that she asked the nurse to tape to the window. Well, this seemed innocent enough, so the nurse obliged and taped the hearts to the outside windows to hopefully brighten the patient's spirits. Well, one day, one of our nurses who happened to know this patient's wife walked out to the parking lot and noticed that she was parked next to her car. So she went over to say hello and catch up. And as it turns out, his wife identified where her husband was located in our facility by the many hearts on the windows. So once she found out where he was, she would come out every day and sit in our parking lot and quietly just sit out there and longingly look at that window. And then after a while, he grew stronger, and when he was well enough, they made a deal, and she would call her husband, and then nursing would help him get to the window and look out and wave to his love in the parking lot. Now, that's an example of the behind the scenes. That's not on a profit and loss report, but that's a value that nursing provides to healthcare. And I fully recognize and I appreciate the fact that many of you worked more shifts. You worked for longer hours. You worked in more departments than you knew existed in a hospital, and sometimes short on help because you cared and the need was great. And I realize that sometimes it was overwhelming. And yet you had to still deal with the day-to-day stresses that everyone else in our community was feeling. Like who would watch your children now that day school is closed? Should you go see your elderly parents and grandparents and possibly spread the disease? How in the world are you now going to add homeschooling to your busy schedule? And are FedEx deliveries really safe? Will Walmart still have that toilet paper when you get off of work? Let me say this without an intended disrespect to any other healthcare professional. Nurses are the backbone of any healthcare system. Let me say that again. Nurses are the backbone of any healthcare system. And they are the only healthcare professionals that stay with their patients 24/7, every day, every night, every weekend, every holiday. You're often the first smile that any infant sees, and you're the last hand that elderly people hold. You bring hope and courage to those who have lost it. You bring respect to those who may not deserve it. You give comforting support to those who need it. And I realize that as a nurse myself, I may be biased. I do acknowledge that, but I will not acknowledge that I'm wrong. Just because I'm biased doesn't mean I'm wrong. I've seen with my own eyes, I've seen with my own ears, I've heard with my own ears the stories of your heroic efforts, your creativity, and your passionate deeds. So I came tonight to recognize and to commend you. And I want you to know I thank you and I appreciate you for all that you've done and for all that you've given to your patients in this community. You are my heroes. And I stand in awe and honor of the greatest profession to ever walk this earth. That's nursing. So God bless and keep you as you continue to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlen. That was incredible. As I said, somebody else that could speak from what was seen from inside, those stories, the commitment, the passion. You definitely brought that out, and I thank you for stepping up and sharing that with us this evening. So we're going to move forward to the meat of our program and acknowledging the honorees this evening. So you'll see that they'll be awarded a nice certificate, which they'll pick up when we go through the roll call here. So let's move forward and honor those individuals this evening. So Reader's Choice, our first honoree. So this is the nurse that the community as a whole, when we went through the voting process, the one that got the most engagements, the most votes. So congratulations, Tiffany Browning, Minidoka Memorial Hospital. Yeah, come on up. So we'll just have you come up, grab your certificate, and grab a goodie bag. And then you can definitely do photos and stuff with your family afterwards. So. Yep. So thank you, Tiffany. Next, we have Bailey Coronado. And please be sure to look at the slide. So Bailey is with Heritage Home Health and Hospice, and be sure to check out everything up on the slide. So, yeah. So wonderful things to say about each of our nominees there. Next, we have Buffy Van Sickle, Autumn Breeze Assisted Living. Congratulations, Buffy. Next and unable to make it this evening is Conrad Merkley. So Conrad's with St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center. So thanks, Conrad, or congratulations. Next up, we have Emily Stone, St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center. Congratulations, Emily. When duty calls, we just had an emergency call in, unable to make it this evening due. You all serve other family members, and this nurse, Nikita Starley, with St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center, got called away to a family emergency tonight. So we hope that's all going well, and congratulations, Nikita. Next, we have Ryan Sharp, St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center. So congratulations. Also not with us this evening is Samantha Warren, Department of Health and Welfare. So congratulations, Samantha. Also not able to join us, Jamie Montreal, St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center. Congratulations, Jamie. And last but not least, Cassidy Moon, St. Luke's Magic Valley Medical Center. Congratulations, Cassidy. All right, let's congratulate everybody up here this evening. We have a great group. I know that you've all experienced a lot, not only in your career, but the last year. I'm sure a lot of what was spoken and shared this evening are things that you've laughed and cried about over the last year. Again, as we kind of looked at the overall program and what we could, talk about this evening, you look at the lessons learned and kind of, as Arlen said, the profession changed forever. It's never going to be the same. And what's that look like moving forward? Well, we're honored to be hosted this evening in the CSI facility, and finding that next generation of the workforce and recruiting folks in and finding the people with the passion that can step in and do what you do and follow that calling is incredibly important to our community. It's incredibly important to the profession and the future of healthcare. So with that, CSI has put together a video that I'd like us to watch, and we'll see what they have to share.
I think it's definitely a good opportunity that we're giving these people the chance to get their COVID shots, and it's a good opportunity for students to be a part of that as we are giving back to the community. I definitely think it's going to be better because students weren't coming to class, they were doing Zoom, and it was definitely hard because you didn't get that hands-on learning, you didn't get the in-class responsibility of being in class and like having that relationship with your friends and peers just because they didn't want to wear the masks. So I feel like it's a good opportunity that we're giving these shots for the mask mandate to be lifted eventually.
I want to become a nurse because when people come in to get healthcare, they're at a very, very vulnerable time in their life. And if I can be there and make them feel more comfortable, that's what I want to do.
So I live in Haley, and I make the commute to CSI because it's worth it. You know, I want to be a nurse very badly. I want to help people, and our society needs nurses more than ever now.
So we haven't had a pandemic like this since 1918. And so, yeah, we're breaking through history.
Okay. So with clinicals, we haven't been able to go out in the field as much. And so we've been able to learn in sim. And when we do go out in the field, because they're starting to let us now, it really teaches you patience and learning to communicate with the people and be able to address their needs in a timely manner.
Yeah, so we're all thrown into this program, and it is an intensive program. We're spending a lot of our time on it. It's like a second full-time job between just school and clinicals, and we are a tight-knit group because we know each other's struggles, and they are sometimes the only ones that understand what you're going through, and so it is great to have them, to call them, or to message them through Messenger even, and it is a nice support group, and we support each other a lot.
I like the critical care aspect. I like critical thinking. I get bored easily, so I like a change of pace. I like to be busy all the time. I don't like any slowing down, really.
All of my instructors have been amazing. First semester, both of the instructors I really enjoyed. They're both really upbeat, and they really kept us on track. And then this semester, I had 2 more instructors, and both of them were completely amazing, very knowledgeable in what they were teaching.
When I graduate in December, I am already a CNA at St. Luke's, so I plan to apply for a registered nursing job at St. Luke's and work there for however long. After I graduate, I'll work at St. Luke's hopefully and continue my bachelor's through ISU, which I hope to complete in May of next year. And after that, I just plan to keep working, keep making money, and just keep giving back to the community as much as I can, volunteering and just working with the community and the patients and the people.
Well, I think we can all agree we have 2 incredible partners that have helped us share the stories tonight with St. Luke's and CSI. You know, with CSI closing us out, they're, you know, really looking at that next generation and the future workforce in nursing and looking at our community. I mean, one of those students right there, I mean, here at CSI, wanting to go to St. Luke's, you know, stay within the community. You know, as a part of that, you know, from an in-person event and a virtual event, one of the things that is a benefit and outcome of this for us is that in the past, if we had an in-person event, we'd be able to bring people together. The people that hear these stories, saw these videos, heard Arlen talk about his perspective and the incredible things that he shared. And of course, seeing these great individuals on stage, you know, we bring that all together, and we're able to share with more people now in a virtual space. So be sure to share with your friends and family. This is something that, again, is vital to our community. We want to be able to share these stories. Go to magicvalley.com/nurses. Be sure to check out the videos. Again, I know that there's extended family, those beyond those that are here with us tonight. Make sure if there's somebody that is doubting what you experience and what you see and what you go through, say just check out these stories right here. I think it might make you think of things and look at things a little differently. So that being said, I want to thank my team and the staff that helped us put this together. So I've got a few of you in the seats tonight, and others that helped us along the way. So we're in a great community. We have great nursing backbone, as Arlen said, of our medical infrastructure here. Let's support those in our community. Let's tell the stories. Let's continue to celebrate everything that you do the passion, commitment, the 24/7 obligation that you bring to our community. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I thank you all for coming here tonight. And with that, I bid you all a great evening. Thank you. And for those, we're kind of cut off live and all that. If you want to come up again, get some pictures. We've got Drew here. We'll be happy to take some pictures and have those moments. So thank you again.